Started. Oh, recording in progress. All right. So you all, if you have questions and you want to type them, Melissa's going to sort of be the person who manages the screens, and she can look at the questions. If for some reason I don't see your question, then just feel free to use your audio. But like everybody said, my name's Cindy Jones, and I am a former foundation chair, and I've been on national council in several different roles through the years. I've been an advisor, for 37 years. So I'm Phi U through and through. Served on lots of scholarship committees, and really, for the past 30 something years, I've done this meeting with my local collegiates in November every year. We found it to be a good time to talk about scholarships because there is a lot to do to get ready for it. But certainly through the years, the process has been facilitated into a much more streamlined and now electronic process. So we hope that excites those of you who are collegiates, and that we can clear up any trepidations that you might have when you see the form thinking, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. You can do it, and we're going to walk you through it. And I'm just going to, spoon feed you the process so that when you see the form and you're filling it out for yourselves, it won't seem as difficult. So feel free to take notes. And Kyle is recording this, so you'll be able to refer to our YouTube channel, I guess, and the webinar will be up in case you need to go, what did Miss Jones say? And we'll go back to it. Okay, so the teacher in me is just going to take over now and show you the actual scholarship forms. So right now, Melissa is manipulating the screen, and you can see on the screen that it says scholarships, and it has a drop-down menu, because we have not only scholarships in Phi U, but we also have fellowships. And those are for those of you who, are graduate students and then going on with masters and PhDs and things like that, advanced degrees. And then we also have some awards, and the awards we'll talk about at the very end. The process and the forms look very similar. They just get shorter and easier as we go to each category. Okay. So to get to the scholarships, you're going to be able to go on the website, just, phiu.org, or eventually, it's possible in the next week or so, you'll get an email that you can actually find it in Greek Track. It's already there. It just takes a little mining and clicking to get to it. So we're hoping to make it much easier so it'll show up on your dashboard. And so you'll be prompted, to go straight to the link to the actual form in Greek Track as well. So that is in the process of happening. We have a long list of scholarships, as you can see on your screen now. And will somebody just confirm that they are seeing that? Yes, I see a couple heads nodding. Okay, just making sure. Sometimes my class will pop in and go, Miss Jones, we don't see what you're talking about. All right, so you can see as Melissa's scrolling all these different scholarships named after very active and prestigious former members or former executive directors, and lots of people that care deeply about Phi U. Now, the fellowship application is something that is electronically generated and submitted electronically. And so once you decide to do this, we need you to sit down and do it all and preview it, and then push submit, because that's a very important key. I don't know if any of you have ever waited frantically for an email return or a text message return, and you get kind of upset about it. You're like, why doesn't she text me back? Or why doesn't he email me? And then you look, and lo and behold, you didn't push submit. You didn't push send. It's happened to me. I don't know how many. I see about 4 heads shaking. A lot of you aren't video capable, but I see some head shaking. It happens to all of us. But in this particular instance, you're going to want to make sure you submit. And the reason we do this is because when you sit down to fill this form out, you are going to want to make sure that you are equipped with all the information that you need. Okay. So the application for the scholarship applications and directions is something that is provided for you, and you can print that out and make yourself a hard copy of that if you want to, but of course, just splitting your screen, whatever you might want to do. So the first thing that's really important to remember is that we gave away last year over $103,000 to our Phi U members, and we have scholarships ranging from $500 all the way up to $59.50. So we're talking about a substantial amount of money that you could get for your academic year next year, the 22-23 year, if you get your scholarship application turned in and it's all correct. One of the things that we need to call attention to is that everything must be received by March 1st. At 11:59, you know how that is. If you want it to be marked electronically as being the correct date, you've got to push submit by 11:59 Eastern Standard Time, okay? And so one of the things that we recommend that you do is before you sit down to fill out your form, you go ahead and make yourself a Word document with all this information on it. And, you could even just toggle back and forth and cut and paste into the forms. But if you find it just as easy to, fill as you go, then that's fine as well. So like any good retail site, if it is required, there's a star or an asterisk by it. And when you push submit, if you have left any of these blank, it will prompt you to go back and fill them out. So name, address, email, all of that, you've got it. And please make sure it's an email that you're going to check. Sometimes people will put an email on and then forget to check that one, and we may need to get a hold of you. You need to put your GPA, your chapter that you were initiated, and the initiation, just the month and the year is all that we need. And then the next thing is you just need to put your chapter advisor, their name. And, if you are unsure about who your chapter advisor is, then you just need to make sure that you're, contacting one of your faculty members there in the department or possibly your department chair. Tell us what institution you are seeking your degree, and then the overall name of where your major is housed. So Melissa's highlighting there that it can include lots of names, you all. Don't let it throw you that we put family and consumer sciences right there. That is still one that is highly recognizable and certainly still used across the nation, but we have things like human ecology, applied human sciences, health and human services. I mean, a lot of different things. So if you will, just, try to make yourself aware of what your unit is called, not just that you're a dietetics major or an interior design major or family studies, but actually what unit you're in, okay? Put the address of the advisor there at the university and the email where we can reach the advisor, because they will actually get an email confirmation and they will be the ones that we mail the checks to. So you want to make sure that you know that person and that you have the information available for that person to submit, okay? And then the perfunctory things like what's your major, where are you in school, to apply for a scholarship, you need to be in school for the next academic school year, and, put your graduation date and that sort of thing. So this section is the same in that we are wanting to find out the name of your highest unit administrator. So is it a department head? Is it straight to the dean? At your institution, who is the chair of your department, so that they can be notified about you receiving this scholarship as well, okay? And again, it's just a little bit of a repeat, but it's so it facilitates files for us so that we can contact both advisors and department heads, okay? And then any kind of undergraduate degree information, if you've gone to more than one institution, we're asking you to list the most current one first. And then if there are other ones, go ahead and list them. But if they're not applicable, you'll see there's no asterisk. It's not going to prompt you to put NA or anything. It's just, we'll let you move on. And then we want to know about you, like what kinds of honors and recognitions have you received while you're in college? It can be something to do with the university or your community, your church, some kind of civic group that you're engaged with. You can list any kind of recognitions or honors that you have actually received. And this is just a chance for you to toot your own horn. Don't be shy. Go ahead and tell us about all the things that you're involved with. Then we want to know what you're doing with Phi U. It's listed under professional service. And, you know, it's great if you've been an officer, and it's great if you're serving as a chair of a committee. But even if you're just recently initiated and planning to get involved, we want to know what service activities or what activities specific to Phi U that you've been involved in. Like this Christmas, you all may be, you know, trying to collect funds or food or mittens or whatever for some philanthropy, and you can list those types of things, okay? And then separate from that, outside of Phi U, are you affiliated with any other family and consumer sciences orgs? Like, do you belong to your major specific, like is it ITAA, the Student Dietetics, you know, AAFCS? Go ahead and list all of those, and if you are any kind of officer or committee chair in those. And then the third box gives you a chance to do anything that's completely off campus, that just sort of demonstrates your level of service and activity, okay? And then you have the opportunity to write a professional goal statement and how those goals will contribute to your family and consumer sciences field. So this is just a chance for you to impress us with your aspirations. Let's put it that way. Okay. We're going to give you a chance to talk about how bad you need the money if that's the case, you know. And of course, you wouldn't be applying for a scholarship if you didn't, but there's another way to justify that as well. Okay. Now, you have to list 3 references. And we're asking that one of them be your current Phi U chapter advisor. And this is really just to prompt you to make sure you know that particular person and you have that contact. And then you need to ask them, and faculty are used to this. They're going to say, will you give me, you know, a current vita or a current resume, and just let me know some activities you're involved in that I'm not aware of, as well as they'll know the things that you're doing with them. But they need to address character, leadership, service, and ability. And I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to really give this some effort. Think of the people who can talk about you and give us a glowing report, because so many times as you're working on scholarship committees and everyone has a great GPA and everybody is so deserving, it's those personal stories. It's that personal testimony from your letters of recommendation that really help throw it over for the committee. So don't take this section lightly, and follow up with each of the people that you ask for a reference and send them a thank you card. Make sure that we have an email for them, a name, a title, and an email for each person, so that we can, you know, confirm the validity or have a person to contact if for some reason they don't get there. And, you know, I've had students ask me several times through the years, and don't be shy about this. Just ask that personal reference if they will, if they'll give you just a draft copy of what they've written. And I know I've been doing that for my students through the years, just putting it in an envelope and letting them see what I sent. And then that's kind of a way that you can, you know, be prompted to give them a thank you note and make sure that they're sending it in. They are to be sent electronically, and the link will be there. So the email address, I guess, Melissa, is what I should be saying, right? The email address will be given to them so that they can send it to the right place.
Yes, and so just to add to that a little bit, so the form builder that we use to build these applications has a new feature that does an approval workflow. So we're trying to make it work specifically for our needs, and we think it's going to. So we're excited that we can automate that process, but either way, they will be electronic.
Yes. And then you can see there in red letters, that letter of recommendation electronically, and please send an electronic official transcript to the national@phiu.org. So there's also some directions for making sure that you get that done correctly, but we will need the official transcript from, I guess, Melissa, the university they're currently attending, because it'll show the subsequent ones as well.
Yes, and so typically that does, a lot of the times now it comes from a third party provider that the university partners with, that
Right.
all they do is electronics transcripts, but that will, the information provided when the student requests those needs to come to national@phyu.org, and that'll be outlined in the directions as well.
Yes. And so, that goes, she's referring to those directions that are at the very top of the form that you can actually, print out and make sure that you're checking off and doing everything correctly. Okay. Now, the scholarship listings is the next section that we're getting into, and it says to please check all for which you are applying. And so I know it's just human nature to go through there and think, well, which ones do I want to apply for? I want you to apply for all of them. And the way that you can do that is to do the financial information that we ask you for, because there are 3 scholarships that are listed here in front of us, the Howe, the Sampson, and the Shepester, that if you do not fill out the financial information we're asking about, just, we'll get to that in a second. But if you don't click on one of these boxes, it won't be generated to do the financial statement. But if you click on just one of those, then it's automatically going to come up. And all of them will tell you that the preference is given to a non-traditional student or preference given to dietetics. They all have specific things that the original scholarship was written for. But if for some reason we don't have someone who meets all those requirements, then we want to award the scholarships anyway. So when you get to this section, I would like for you to just click every single one of them and make yourself eligible to get any that you can. Okay. Now, here's this financial information that we talked about. And with the finances, you all, I don't want you to be intimidated by this. I tell my students every year, we know you don't have, tons of money, but you have to have some idea of how you're existing. So you can put in an amount, like if you work and through the whole year, you might make $5,000, you can just do the drop down, and that's what you get annually. And maybe this year you're getting that quarterly, or maybe you're getting it by the semester or whatever. To the best of your ability, tell us where your finances are coming from. If it's grants or savings, or your parents give you money, if your grandpa gives you money, any kind of child support, anything that is other, that you like take out student loans or whatever, we have to know where your sources are coming from. Because like I said earlier, when it gets down to the really nitty gritty of deciding who gets what, financial need weighs heavily on our decisions, as well as, remember, you're competing with other Phi U members who are all academically prominent and able to apply for these scholarships. So it's not just your good grades that are going to get you the scholarship. We need to know as much about you as can, so that we're choosing worthy candidates for each scholarship. And then the other thing I want you to know is, there's not enough hours in the day for Melissa or the scholarship committee to go in there and, check your tax returns or whatever. We're just doing this on the honor system. We want you to give us a snapshot picture of what your expenses are and what your income is, so that we know that you do have a need for the scholarship and that it'll go toward a good cause and a worthy individual. So you can list your tuition, you can list books and rent and utilities and any kind of, regular expenses that you have to do each month. And that will factor into the actual financial need. And then as Melissa is scrolling down there, you see all the categories we give you. But we also give you a box that will let you write a written justification statement, which you are required to write if you fill out the financial. Because even just looking at the numbers, we might see that you have very little income coming in, but we don't know why. And you might tell us you're first generation and you're paying your own way from college or to college, whatever you want to say about your financial need, then this is the opportunity for you to speak to that. I'm a single parent, I'm going back to school and working on my master's, or whatever it might be that you feel justifies your need. Okay. And then you need to do a signature. Yeah, that's a lovely one, Melissa. Put your electronic signature there. We know they all can look kind of funny, so that's just fine. And then you need to click that you have read the scholarship application directions. And don't forget, those are at the top of the form. If you want to click on the hyperlink and go to that document and print it out, I think that's always, you know, an interesting way to do it. If you guys are like me, I love a checklist, a to-do list, and I can go down through there and go, did it, you know, and make sure everything is being done. Now, Melissa has highlighted there on number 4 that these checks will go to the chapter advisor or the unit administrator for those that are enrolled as full-time students for this semester, this fall of 22. Okay. All right. Now, here's some things to read carefully. That's why it's in red. That's why it's big font. You can save your application as a draft and complete it later. And once you have completed it, you are going to be required to hit preview and see all your answers and make sure that you don't have any typos or, you know, any mistakes or anything left blank is probably the most common. And then after you review your application, you're going to have the option to print it. And I would recommend that you print it. So if there's any kind of electronic glitch or snafu, you also will have a hard copy. All right. Where are you going, Miss Melissa? Oh, you're just going to show them how it looks. If you are you going to go to the other screen? In green there, you see that if you hit submit after you preview and print, if you hit submit and you do not see the green check mark, then you're not finished yet. Okay, so preview the answers, you would click that, and then that would show you everything populated, and it might give you that message. There are errors on this form, and that means that those fields were required and you did not do them. So that will help you not, you know, make mistakes. But when everything is filled and everything, you know, is complete, it will allow you to push submit. So Melissa's just going in there and putting some letters so that we have the red areas filled out so you can see the submit. All right. So then you click the preview. And like it says, you could save this and you can see how things are filled in. The boxes no longer appear, but the information that you typed in appears. And then you can hit print, which is what we ask you to do. And then you can push submit and prove that you're not a robot. And then that is the super green check. That's what you need to see to know that you have successfully completed the scholarship application. Melissa, do you want to add anything before we move on?
Nope, you did a great job, Cindy. I'm just going to try to stop screen share for just a moment so I can switch back to the other application.
To the fellowships. Okay.
Bear with me just 1 second.
We are fine. We will bear with Melissa. She's going to go and pull up the fellowship app. And then after that, we'll look at awards. They're both extremely similar to the scholarship. So who is eligible for the fellowships? And that has to do with those of you who are working on another degree, your master's, or, you know, whatever type of continuing education that you might be working on. They cause a little bit of a conflict in that when you start to apply for this in February, you may not know for sure. For instance, if you're in dietetics, you may not know for sure where you're going to be going to get your master's. So you just know that you can still apply, even if it's pending. You can tell us, you know, a couple of institutions that you are waiting to hear from. And then once we know that it's final, then that's what we'll use to look at, you know, as we review these in the late spring. But they have to be postmarked in March. Now, this particular application, if you'll just scroll really slowly, Melissa, it looks very much like the one that we just went through. So that's why we go through the longest one first. So as you know, put in the regular information, name, address, phone number, all those GPAs and whatever Phi U contact you have, the date of acceptance or anticipated date of acceptance for graduate studies, then, you know, you can put that there and let us know what degrees being sought, what major area of study, and if it's still pending, that does not make you ineligible. You aren't going to receive the checks until it's all confirmed, but you need to be in the process to be considered. So you need to do this, you know, prior to that March 1 deadline. So again, we have to have, you know, any kind of department head and advisors, whatever you have, for us to confirm that you will be in fact coming to their institution once that decision is made. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. So again, where you've gotten your degrees and all the Phi U stuff and affiliated organizations. And then this is a little different in this one, that you put any scholarly work, if it's applicable, if you've had any kind of publications, if you've co-authored, or, you know, you've been to a professional meeting, anything like that is especially applicable to the fellowships. Okay. And if for some reason you need a bigger box because you've done a lot of scholarly work, then you can attach like a Word file or whatever so that we can see that. And again, you can write a statement of your professional goals, and it does limit you to 500 words or less. And then you have to list your 3 references again. And the same thing, send it electronically, and the transcripts go to national@phiu.org. And then, am I right in saying this, Melissa, on fellowships? Help me remember, if they apply, they have to apply specifically, or is it like scholarships, they do them all?
They will still need to check the ones they would like to apply for.
Okay, so go ahead and check the boxes, you all. Make sure that you're filling out those little radio buttons. And then again, you can see some of the ones that will be more specific to your field and stuff. All right, and then the statement of objectives for your advanced study, and then just talk about what your potential contributions to your profession will be. And that is required for the fellowships. So read over those. And, you know, for those of you who are on here tonight that are advisors, you know, it's really on us to make sure that our students, as they're graduating and going to other institutions, I know we all try to track our alumni, but it's really important for us. And if, for instance, you know, we had an Abby as a peer or as a colleague, if they have some research prospectus already written and they can submit that, this is one of the least applied for fellowships that we have, the President's Research. But I know so many times, you know, you get to an institution where they may not have Phi U, so you're thinking, well, I'm not eligible. But remember, once Phi U, always Phi U. And so even though you might not have a local chapter affiliated there, you can still apply because you're still connected to Phi U. So hopefully we can all do a really good job of getting the word out to make sure people are applying for the many scholarships and fellowships that we have available. And again, you know, you've got to sign it and submit it and save it and preview your answers and make sure you get the the green check. Sorry, Melissa, I said yellow. All right. So The award application, as Melissa's pulling it up, like I said, it's very similar. You'll still need the letters of recommendation, but you won't. The only difference there really is more specifically applying for the award that you're eligible for, and you don't have to have a transcript for the awards. That's the main differentiation. So you can see it, just the headers change at the top, and we have awards ranging from $350 up to $1,000. Same deadline, same standard information for the awards as we've done for the previous two forms. And it seems kind of long as you're scrolling down through there, but that's just because we have to explain what everything is, right? Because once you get a loan in your office and you're filling out something online, it's going to be helpful to know what all these boxes, what do they mean by that? So there's the letters of recommendation. And then you can see the awards that have specific requirements. So they're more specific in their details. And so you're going to want to check the ones that you feel like this Hazel Hatcher's overcome obstacles, or if you're a consumer and family science education person, then Shirley Chase is certainly one you want to apply for. So just read through those and click the ones that you think you would be eligible for based on your own resume. Okay. And then the one other thing that's different about this, I think the checks do come to the award recipients, right, Melissa? Yes, sent to the recipient. Okay, I thought that was right. It's been a while since I've been on the award committee, but yes, they go to the recipient. Okay, so I know I've gone through the second ones sort of quickly, but if you all have any questions, at this time, we'll take some questions, and then Melissa's going to do a little bit of an overview of Greek track. So hopefully she'll be able to answer questions you might have about activating your account. All right. So anybody want to turn their mic on and ask a question? Anybody overwhelmed?
I'll ask a question if nobody else has one right now. I have a few actually. So when we're talking about the year in school, it asks you to report your year in school with the rest of your information. Does that mean the year in school that you will be in for 22-23, or is that the year you're currently in school as of when you're applying? I thought maybe people might have questions about that.
Yeah. Well, I've always just told my students to put the year they are when they're applying, because then we'll know their graduation date. You know, you have a block for that, a form space for that as well. So they're probably juniors, or at least, you know, sophomores applying, and we can tell that they have another year or another 2 years. As a committee, we can, you know, deduct that from their graduation.
Okay. Another question I had was, and you know, you talked about how you can apply for a fellowship and an award, or a scholarship and an award. You just need to fill out the separate applications. Do the letters of recommendation work for both? So if I'm applying for a fellowship and I get my 3 letters of recommendation, and then I apply for awards, do I need to get 3 additional letters of recommendation separate for the awards?
Yes,
okay.
They both need to have letters of recommendation. That's not to say that I couldn't write one for both categories if I'm your Phi U advisor, but it does need to be a separate letter. And then, you know, in that first paragraph, when you identify what they're applying for, that differentiates it. They may be very similar, but it does need to be separate, because they typically go to separate committees. So we do need, you know, we do need the letters of recommendation to be attached to each application.
Okay, those were the 2 questions I thought of as I was going through.
That's the kind of thing, you know, when you get to the form, you're like, oh, well, next year or this year or when, you know, so I understand. That's a perfectly legitimate question.
And I just wanted to echo what Cindy said several times, and the directions, you'll notice that it's asterisk there, like, did I read the directions? Yes. And you have to, that's one thing we see that maybe gets missed throughout if someone makes a mistake, it was because they might not have read the directions. And so, like Cindy said, even if you're not one of those who likes to have a checklist, just do it, because it's something for you to physically cross off. Did I do this? Did I do this? And it'll help you make sure that you're getting all of those little details.
Yes.
And I also liked the recommendation she made about, maybe copy and paste everything that you need to be entering into this form and put it in a Word document or another sheet, whatever system you like to use, because that way you can make sure you're getting everything there, crossing off your directions list, put it in your Word document, and then you're ready to just copy and paste to the JOT form. And one thing I noticed when I was filling out the JOT form in the past, it may seem like you just have a little box and I like to have things formatted. And so for me, it was kind of like, my bullet points didn't go over, but it does let you kind of format things and keep things organized in the box. So that makes it easier for the reviewers to see too. But, having it in that Word document and then copy and paste over to your JOT form before you hit submit, it gives you a chance to, make changes and formatting. But I thought that was something that was a helpful
and when you hit preview, you're able to see your formatting without the boxes. So that's a good way, that if you preview it and you want to go back and make some changes, that's fine. I know the first year we had the JOT forms, we all had to sort of learn how to read them, because the actual boxes weren't there. And, you all, I hope you'll take to heart what I said about sending an email or a hard copy of a thank you note to the people who write your letters of recommendation, because besides being professional etiquette, it also prompts them to go, oh no, she's thanking me and I haven't done that yet. And so don't forget to do that. Give it a little time. You've asked them to do it, and about a week later you might thank them. And if they don't want to provide a copy, they're just telling you that they've done it. I know most of the time advisors will give you an email, just say, I got your letter done and I sent it to National, or I got your letter done and it's on my office door, or pick it up in the mailbox, whatever. But that helps all of us who are busy, and certainly a good habit to get in whenever you ask anyone to do something for you.
Yes, and just to expand a little bit on what Jennifer said and Cindy echoed, so you've got some information about kind of which things you want to apply for. If you're a graduating senior, look at those awards. If you are undergraduate, look at those scholarships, and then the fellowships really geared towards graduate. You are only eligible to receive one in an academic year. So it doesn't mean you can't apply for more than one, like say a fellowship and an award, or scholarship and an award, but you are only eligible for one. And then kind of circling back to the comment about letters of reference, really kind of follow through on that, because last year we were chasing some pieces of applications, and it was our first year. We all know it's been a tough year. And so we do want to set a standard there, though, that really that's on the applicant to ensure that those letters of recommendation are received with your application into the national office. So not only thank them, but also, we're all busy. We understand that, but just to make sure that that is done, because that definitely comes into play. We're Honor Society members, and everyone, is very deserving and usually has fantastic skill sets, honors and recognition and GPA. So you want to set yourself apart with those letters.
It's all about the finesse of it. It's the details that will get, and it doesn't hurt. Like Melissa said, if you apply for an award, and let's just say you don't get a scholarship, but you have applied for an award as well, then that's just one more chance you have to receive some money. And just like any other organization, some years we are inundated with applications, and some years it's not as generous, and it would be better to have more applications, is all I'm saying. So don't be hesitant. I've had students that just got initiated in November, apply for a national scholarship in February, and were able to receive one just based on the things they had done prior to Phi U and their professional statement about how they want to contribute to our field and their own goals. And it's enough to get you a scholarship. You don't have to be the, person who, Mr. Phi U, you've done everything, and so you're deserving. Don't feel like that. Encourage your friends and your peers to, get together with you one night and try to get these applications filled out. It's helpful. I don't think any of us have said, but it's helpful if in December, before you leave for semester break, if you send an email or stop by and talk to your advisor and say, hey, I'm going to apply for a national scholarship, and I'm hoping you'll write me a letter of recommendation, because I know as a faculty member, I always appreciated being able to knock out those letters when I had time to give them the attention they deserved during break. And a lot of times that could happen, prior to like Martin Luther King Day, and then you came back, and it used to be February 1st, so we'd have to have them ready by January 31st. So feel free to contact the people prior to break, and they'll put it on their to-do list, and when they aren't in class, maybe they can get those done. All right, anybody else have any questions? I'm always honored to help students get scholarships, because I'm always thrilled that you're pursuing degrees and that you have career aspirations. And I know Melissa wants to talk a little bit about our exciting, difficult, challenging transition to the Greek track. And I'm really excited about it. I love to play with new things, and I got on there this weekend and played with it some. So Melissa's going to tell you just a little bit about some difficulties or challenges, I might say, that you might be having activating your account. So Melissa, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Cindy. And what a great job Cindy did going through all of those. Cindy is a past foundation chair and was asked to do this because she has much experience. So we're very grateful for her walking us through those applications. So we are, as many of you know, in the midst of a really exciting migration to a new membership management system called Greek Track. So if everybody can see my screen, you will see that we have a new website. It looks a little different. It's a similar categories, but a little bit of a refresh for us. So a couple of things. The login is kind of your one-stop shop. So there is no single sign-on password. Everybody will have their own password to their own profile account. And so that's exciting. You can do system resets. Before, everyone was emailing me directly, right? So we're really excited about that. And then jewelry, I have to put in a plug here.
Yay!
Because we have just launched a new expanded Phi U Jewelry line, and so I'm going to see if it'll take you with me. Is it letting you change the screen with me?
It's loading.
Okay, we'll see if it comes up. But we've got 5 pieces that we've just launched, and we're super excited. They can be ordered individually. We're getting close to Christmas, so it is a great option now if you have, a parent even, or a friend or a spouse or grandparent or anyone who might be interested in ordering one of those pieces of jewelry for you. Well, not wanting to load for some reason. Let's see if I can hard push it. Nope. Okay, I may have one too many screens open, so you guys will have to check it out, but it is linked right there on the home screen. And then the login, did it take you with me?
Yep.
Okay, so this is headquarters because I'm headquarters, but essentially you will get to see your own chapter's website. So I'm going to log on just to take a quick peek at one of our chapters. Let me slide you over here. So you can look at a chapter. They've got your address there, and then down here are your officers and your advisors, which I think some of these wonderful people are on the call today. I'm going to make myself a chapter admin just so I can get into the chapter's website so you guys can see what it looks like. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I thought I was on mute. So you can see the actual chapter pages here. And there's notifications. So we'll drop a notification there when the scholarship, fellowship, and award applications are live. And you can read those full announcements. Resources are here. So just like we had that fall packet before, now you've got your resources here by officer, advisors that are on your toolbox, alumni chapters, and then scholarship applications. So we'll have a few different ways you can link directly to that, just to make sure you get what you need. But when you are trying to set up your account in GreekTrack, please try to look for yourself. So when you type in your name, it should populate, if you'll give it just a moment, for someone in our database, right? Is this you? It looks like we already have a Jennifer Reader in our system. So we've got a few folks that have created a duplicate account, and it's not a problem. We can work through that, but there is one of me. And so it's always great if you can link up to the account that's already there. If you were initiated within the last few months, there is a chance you might not have migrated into the new system, and you might give us about 2 weeks to get caught up on that since we moved. But you can manage announcements, give awards, you can host fundraisers, start campaigns, you can donate through the site, generate invoices for dues, and then as chapter advisors, you'll see that you can invite from like an Excel spreadsheet, or you just upload it as a CSV file from those eligible students, send a letter of invitation, they can accept it, initiate, generate an invoice for those members. So we're really hoping that this becomes kind of this portal, this one-stop shop for you and your chapter to make everything more streamlined, and all of us could free up some more time, right? So we hope that that is a great benefit to our chapters. And then we also want to make sure that you're checking back here often and frequently for updates. And also following us on social media, and we'll get those scholarship, fellowship, and award applications posted in the next few days.
Okay. All right. So if nobody else has any questions, or if you want to, of course, you can email Melissa at national.org, but I'm happy to field questions. And the other thing I thought of as Melissa was talking, my email is just my name, cindy.jones at, let's go the other way, wku.edu. If you are wondering who your regional counselors are, or anybody on national council or anything like that, you can always go to the candle or about the team. It says about the team in the website, and there'll be contact information there as well. So if Melissa, is not the only person that you can reach out to. We all have regional counselors that will be happy to answer questions, or I'm sure past presidents such as Robin Box knows all things Phi U. Kyle, current president or president-elect, and Jennifer, current president. Just reach out to us. We're happy to help. So if you feel like for some reason you have an additional question, or you didn't understand what Melissa said, or whatever the circumstance might be, feel free to reach out to any of us. We're happy to support you, okay? So those of you who are advisors, or those of you who are collegiates or graduates, just everybody. And thanks for joining us tonight. Thank you, Kyle, for facilitating. And you all, if you need to let your friends know that it's going to be posted soon. I don't know exactly when that'll happen. One more of the many things Melissa needs to do, but the webinar will be available.
Yes, and we'll have that on our YouTube channel, I would say within the next 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. Thank you and good night.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for showing up.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.